We are here at Certified. My name is Ed Lover, joined again by my boys, as always, Doc Dre. Dre, what up?
What's happening, Ed? How you doing?
And the one and only Mac Daddy Bear hugging T Money. When the last time you heard me say that, T?
Last week. But anyway, we good, baby. What's happening, man? We good.
Hey, joining us today, man, is a man that we've known for a long time, a man that we have all respected for a long time. The industry is respecting him for a long time. He's an actor, he's a director, he's a producer. He is the son of one of the reasons why Black directors exist in Hollywood today. And although there's not a lot of us, but we're still making progress in 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mario Van Peebles is here.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And Mario, first of all, I want to say thank you for joining us. Second of all, I want to say thank you for the $2.10 residual checks from gunmen I still get.
Yeah, we hook it up.
That help pay the rent.
That $2 address, man.
Yeah. How you been, sir?
I'm good, man. It's good to be back in New York. I'm here, hanging out with my pops a little bit. Oh, dig this. You remember? I don't know if you remember his play "Ain't Supposed to Die a Natural Death."
Yes.
Yes.
But it looks like we're making a deal to bring that back on to Broadway.
Wow.
So that's dope. So I'm like, I become, you play many roles in life. One of my favorite roles has been to play father, but
Right.
The other one, play son, and to be Melvin's son and get to be, working as his agent and getting his deals done. It's a beautiful thing, man. He used to do that for me.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that must be incredible, man.
I just recently saw your father in Boomerang, and the only reason it's such a great part is because they were worrying about there was a shadow. And he said, "No, that's a nipple." He said, "Why?" Because my mouth is moist.
That's right.
Congratulations to your dad, always.
Yeah, congratulations, man. We got a lot of love for your dad, without question, man. He's a man.
And you too.
Brother,
and you too, obviously.
We grew up kind of like the Jacksons, but without the talent, We just get stuff done somehow.
Yeah.
And it's lovely to see it going, and then my kids are doing it, so it's like we're now 3 generations in this business. And the good thing about growing up in it, if you're a Van Peebles, is to come early, to leave late. You will not be the weak link. So no one's acting crazy, which is good, because sometimes when you get new money, you get blinded by that money god. You make crazy decisions. But
Absolutely.
You see it over time, then you understand it differently.
And what aspect of the business are your kids in right now?
Well, my son, I have one son. I call him my gangster son. He's in acting. His name is Mandela. I just finished the new movie on Salt-N-Pepa.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's right. That's right.
Here, 91, and so we shot that, and Cheryl, Salt-N-Pepa were the producers. So we had all their music, and my son Mandela plays a gangster in that one.
Okay.
Mandela.
Yeah. And then I have a daughter, Morgana. She just got out of Columbia. She's directing. And I tell them what my dad told me. There are 4 phases in your life if you're lucky. There's Mario who? Get me Mario. Get me a young ass Mario. And Mario who? So as long as you don't take that personally and you do some movies, do some things that you care about while you have that heat and pass it on, you're good. You got to say something you're proud of, though.
This is what I wanted to ask you. And we all respect you, and everybody, anybody that knows film should respect you and your dad and what you've accomplished to this point. If you know how it is for us people of color to actually, even get involved in film. If you had an opportunity to speak to the youth, like you do right now, because we're giving you the platform that you can do it, what would you tell them? Where would you tell them to start? How would you tell them to, work and become, directors and actors and try to reach the level that you've so been able to do up until this point?
I'd say, man, the more that you understand, it's called show business, right? The more that you understand, like before I did any acting, I did acting as a kid, but then I took time off and I went to college and I got a BA in economics because I wanted to be able to speak the language of finance. Why? Because that means I don't have to just seek a job as an actor. I can create a job as a producer or a job as a director. So I'm not just a brother out there saying, can you give me a job? I can meet other cats that have some income and we can shape it, make a deal, and make money together. So there's been multiple projects that I have done because I was able to speak finance. So I think a lot of times we play ball, but we forget to own the team. We make the movie, but we forget to direct it or own it or produce it or write it. And then when time passes, you're like, damn, where'd the fat boys go? You know what I mean? So
hey, the fat boys.
You know what I'm saying? Right. So you want to make sure that if you want to be able to ball forever, I'd say get educated in the field you want to be in. Really understand it.
Right.
And understand it from every angle and from every aspect.
Yes.
How do you think that you've been able to manage to survive and thrive throughout all the changes that have been happening since you've been in this business?
Well, partly is I love to grow. I always say I'm young enough to be a great student and I'm old enough to be a badass teacher. Right. I feel like if I keep growing, keep listening, keep learning, stay humble, you know, be wrong sometimes, be right sometimes, but be ready to grow from others. The minute that everyone's treating you like a star, it's kind of time for you to move on. Right. So for example, right now I'm here directing this new TV series. It's a spinoff on Power. It's called Raising Canaan, Power Book Raising Canaan. And during these first episodes, we're creating the look of it. So that's why I'm here right now in New York, and I want to spend time with my pops. But I'll go off and direct a show that I didn't write, and then I'll go off and I'm doing another Western, you know, so I'll go off and make that. This time I want to put some women in the saddle, so you're going to see some badass sisters riding through the West. But I mix it up, man. I'm always like, someone will call me up and say, well, you want to do this one? And I can do the multiple things. I can direct one that I don't act in one that I don't direct, or mix it up and do all of the above. You know, so I'm right on Instagram. If you got a, you know, good idea.
I'm following you.
Yeah, so am I. Without question.
Verified Mario Van Peebles, and I tell you, people have hit me up on Instagram, and sometimes I'll follow up with it, and I've had projects come out of that because what's happening, you see more and more Black folks realizing that if they can make money from us, we can make money from us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now I got a good one for you because you know you did star on your father's first directorial and produced movie, and you were pretty much ass naked in the whole flick, which was very interesting. How do you take that kind of energy that you did with your father in the beginning, and you direct such classics as New Jack City, Posse, Panther, and etc.? Where does that energy come from?
Man, to me, it's such a privilege to get to show us in all our colors. You know, it's a privilege I was so lucky in that I grew up with a Black man who was the boss. And he said, look, I'm not a rapper, I'm not a singer, I'm not a ball player, I'm too nervous to steal. I'm here smart. Smart is my gangster. And this is a man who learned languages, who could deal with people of all colors. So I grew up seeing that, right? So when y'all were doing them quotes from Clint Eastwood's movie earlier, right?
Right, Heartbreak Ridge.
Yeah,
Heartbreak Ridge, yep.
Clint Eastwood, obviously, real cool brother, gave me my first shot. He's a Republican. But so my thing is, because I can get along with so many different kinds of people, you could be Asian, you could be Native American, I knew good allies come in all colors. You see what I'm saying? So if you can learn from everybody, you go, oh man, what can I learn from Clint Eastwood? What can I learn from Michael Mann? What can I learn from Melvin Van Peebles? What can I learn from Ava? What can I, you stay out there, you stay fresh. So I think part of it is, we're not here to deal with cameras or scripts. We're here dealing with people. And a lot of it's going to come down to your people skills, your ability to step around the bullshit and deal with the good stuff. Your ability to say, nah, I'm not going to get on that side of that person. I'm going to bring out the best in them, because you're not going to deal with perfect people.
Right.
You know?
I want to thank you for giving that love to us all and give it back to you, because that's the most important thing, is bringing the love forward that we've been missing lately in a lot of what we're doing. People have a love of a craft or a love of a person or a love of things like money. But in that kind of love, that's where your passion comes from, to be a part of it, especially this creative environment we call entertainment.
Yeah, but go back to the love of money thing, because
I was leading to that, and I thought Ed would jump in. I was throwing him that softball.
That's an alley-oop, huh?
There you go.
Yeah, go ahead, Mario.
Go ahead, man. We're listening.
Well, you know what I'm saying is that look, Paul Robeson asked a question. He said, when you buy into the values of a people who would buy and sell your people, what have you become? So if you just buy into the values of the colonizer and you start to think money's the only God, you might be tricked into thinking money is freedom. So Malcolm said, no, freedom by any means necessary. But if you don't have a high enough consciousness, you might think, well, I just want to get paid, so I'm going to say get paid by any means necessary. But now you've been tricked into equating money with freedom. It's not the same thing. Money is a tool. It's not an ends. You know what I mean? So you have to understand that. You have to understand that. You say, well, how do I want to vote? Vote with your consciousness. Maybe you got a whole lot of paper and you think, well, maybe Biden might charge me so much more in taxes. That's not actually true, and you have to be in a hella crazy tax bracket.
True.
But look at it and you say, if I'm just going to vote for my money, and I'm not going to look at the bigger picture about what kind of planet we leave in our kids, who's getting hit first and worst by COVID? It's us. The study now showing that the children are getting COVID. The ones that are dying of it are folks that look like us.
Right.
So you have a bigger consciousness and say, oh, wow, do I just care about my paper, or do I care about something bigger than that? And it's only when you start to care about something bigger than that that you actually stay in the game way longer, because you got a bigger cause. Now, I hope that makes sense.
Well, that's why you're certified. That's why you're certified.
It makes absolute sense. I've been hearing that you've been taking a lot of flack because you've been working with 50 Cent on different things, and people think that his ideals and the way he thinks is the same way that you think.
Yeah, people that come up and ask me, here's the thing, the truth is, when I did All Things Fall Apart, he came to me to act and direct with it. I found him to be cool, did what he said he would do, great work ethic, you know what I mean? So I was a little surprised when he did this thing about talking about he might vote for Trump, and now here he's flipped back.
He recanted.
Yeah, so
50's a troll when it comes to social media.
Yeah, so he might do to get people stirred up. You can play games with stuff, but sometimes you have to look at, there's a lot of young cats that might follow that and not get that you're playing games.
Right.
If there's a time to mess around, there's a time not to mess around. When Nelson Mandela's about to be free, there's no time for tribal infighting.
Right.
No.
You know what I mean? We're 8 days away from needing to get Colonel Marmalade out of office. There's no but silly-ish.
Right.
But remember one thing, Mario, I didn't mean to cut you off, excuse me, is that the person, the POTUS right now, he does the same things and uses it as a backpedal excuse. We have to learn to move forward with a united front from all bases and all colors, because that's what will be our strength. And you've always exhibited that with your work, with your intellect, and also with, I guess, your friendships and your associations in this business. And that's why so many of us admire you.
Thank you, brother. But look what you just said. Associations and your relationships, and those go. How long have we known each other? 20 years?
Yeah, absolutely.
30.
I mean, that's
30.
crazy. So let's look at this. Look at when you go to hire someone. If there's someone you respect and you call them up and say, this person that I want to hire, how did they do? And this person that you really respect says, man, they did an excellent job. Then you look at that way, you're like, okay, I know I can trust them now. Well, guess what? Biden was hired by President Obama.
Yes.
That's very true.
Right? And what did Biden see? He saw that President Obama could trust this cat. That, yeah, Biden, like all of us, has evolved. You know, we all make mistakes when we're younger. Right? If we don't grow, what are we taking up this air on this planet for? You're here to raise your consciousness. So the Mario I was 20 years ago is not the Mario I am now. I've grown, and you've grown, right? So Biden has definitely grown, but he and Obama helped stop a pandemic. They corrected a financial crisis, and they got us healthcare. And here's another thing. He saw up close that Biden listened to his right-hand person, who is a bad sister, of course, Michelle. So Michelle keep him on track. So he saw that Obama could listen to and understand the power of the Black woman. So what did Biden do? He got Kamala Harris to be his Michelle.
Right.
To keep him grounded. So Biden's going to surround himself with people who knew. But check what Trump did. Who he surrounded? All them aides at the White House are white.
And he fired them all if they disagree with him. If they
fire him, and they all running away writing books on him, right? And then all those people that he's putting on the court, white Republicans, no brothers,
right?
No
balance.
folks. So you're talking about court packing. You got to look at this and say, oh, I don't care that he took a couple of pictures with some rappers or this or that and the other.
Right.
The way he's acting right now is not the way we need our president to act.
Absolutely. And then he turns around and he's appointing all of these conservative white Republicans, and you stand there at the debate and go, I am absolutely the least racist person in this world. I can't see everybody in here. I don't know what everybody, but I'm pretty sure I'm the least racist person in this world.
Well, he said he did more for the black man than Abe Lincoln. So since Abe Lincoln.
He said that probably.
He sure did.
Abe Lincoln.
Did to Herman
But
Cain.
my point of the matter is, if you're not a racist person and you don't have a racist bone in your body, then when you go out to hire somebody, you're going to hire people and appoint people based on their ability to do the job. He's just appointing people based on their color of their skin and their association with his party. If you're the president of the United States, you're the president of the United States. That's all of us. That's just not the Republican Party and not just the white male. And that's what President Trump has shown throughout these last 3 and some odd years of his
Without
presidency.
question.
But I have.
You're the leader of the free world if you're the president of the United States, not just the United States.
But I have to add to that. There are thinking Republicans that are leaving. The Lincoln Project. All these Republicans that say, I'm sorry, we don't know who this joker is, but he does not represent us. I have Republican friends that are sane, and we need sane Republicans.
You need checks and balances.
Checks and balances. I'm all with it. But this guy is on some other level. Listen, you talking about who he's hiring. Not just is he hiring Republicans, he's putting a guy in charge of our national forest who used to be in the business of cutting down national forest.
Wow.
And he's selling.
That's the same man that said to California when the fires were thing, you guys need to go out there and rake the forest so you can get all the dry brush up. And everybody kind of looked at him like he was out of his mind. Said, what did he say?
Rake?
He said to go out there and rake the forest of all the dry brush that's out there so it doesn't catch fire and spread so fast. I wanted to hand him a rake.
The problem with that also is that a lot of that is federal land.
Exactly.
So if you want to say that you want to go rake the land, it's federal land, homie.
Right.
I mean, I'm just mad because I tried injecting bleach and it didn't work out. I got lighter skin. I was trying to get my Wesley on, and boom, dude.
Right.
It didn't work for you. I can see that.
Didn't work for me, man.
Nah.
No, this is a president who claims to not be divisive, but you told one of the most racist organizations to stand back and wait and stay there, just wait. Like, in other words, you're telling them, well, don't do anything now, but if I don't win this election, then let's turn up.
Absolutely. But even, but from back in the day to now, like I said, a man can change. He can evolve. Obama evolved on the whole issue of gay marriage. But you look at how he came into power, was claiming that Obama was not a legitimate president. Mm-hmm. And he wasn't
a legitimate American. That was his whole shtick. And the funny thing is, who's challenged his right to be an American shtick? This is the funny thing. If he wants to compare himself to a president, he should use the word Jefferson Davis of the Confederacy of the United States, because he's more like that than he's ever been like any other person.
Even the Central Park Five, he's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty.
Yes.
Right. He took out a full paid ad saying these brothers should be given the death sentence. Before they were tried.
Before they were tried, exactly.
He paid more for that ad than he did in Texas, probably. And then when they got proven innocent, he never apologized.
Yeah.
Nope.
But that's his whole thing is, I never apologize whether I'm right or wrong, no matter what. Because you can see that in his relationship with his own spouse, who refuses to touch his hand. This is a man who actually had the disease COVID-19, and because he was hyped up on steroids, decided to actually continue to spread it. And his vice president and his chief of staff now are spreading it still in the White House. But yet here's the unique thing that I'm still trying to figure out, Mario, and I hope you went out and voted. How are people actually going in the booth and saying, well, let's just give him 4 more years? Look at what's around us right now.
Man.
Over 230,000 Americans, preferably of color, have passed away of this disease that you
including Herman Cain.
Herman Cain. Will you continue to continuously blame China? He blamed China for the disease, and the disease that embarked us and hit us in New York came from Europe.
Right.
And you slow walked everything. So I'm trying to tie this in.
Can I add something?
Please.
He said it was all Chinese hoax, and then we just found out that he has secret bank accounts in communist China.
Totally. And here's
without question.
He's accusing Joe Biden of being a communist. So
without all question, listen, without all question, we all know that his presidency is a failed presidency, without question. And
he wants to claim credit for an economy he inherited and zero blame for a pandemic that he ignored. And
he ignored it 100%, you know, and he's not taking any, he's just out of control. I just can't see how, to piggyback off of what Dre was saying, I just can't see how you can go into the polls and think about how the last 4 years have been and then think to vote for him. I mean, this is just my opinion. But
what do you say to brothers and sisters who say their vote doesn't matter? What do you say when you meet those brothers and sisters go, I ain't gonna vote, my vote doesn't matter? What do you tell them, man?
But you just said something important. You said something important a moment ago. This is not the time to subdivide our vote, subdivide our support, subdivide our actions. We have to unite to remove the common person in front of us who is holding us all back.
Right.
Very simply.
True.
And the thing is, we're so busy subdividing rather than pulling together like we do here on Certified. So I got one real question for you, Mario. Since the issue with 50 has come to pass and has come out that everyone knows about this, have you reached out to this young man, Mr. Jackson, and said, hey, we may differ in opinion, but where do we end up after this? Even though you may worship the almighty dollar, what are we going to do with that dollar you worship? Where does that move us as the community forward?
And brother, and what do you think that dollar does to your fans? How did you get to be where you are? All those people on the front line who drive buses, who take care of us, who teach, who are in nursing, all those folks.
The CNA, the nurses, the people who do.
I'd say like the other man. Am I my brother's keeper?
I am my brother's keeper.
I am. We're talking to Mario Van Peebles. Part of this discussion is because Mario was almost blackballed, and there's a lot of things happening with him when people thought that he supported what 50 Cent was saying about Donald Trump, even though Mario's his own man. We all know that. And, Mario is about the people, but some people are just a little bit brain dead. So we here to spread the word that Mario is not thinking about, and 50 retracted. So it's
retracted, but
it's over now. But let's get back to something, because we were just talking about, and I'm a little mad that I allowed us to glaze over this, because we are all hip hop heads, so to speak, and we're OGs in hip hop. I want to know about this Salt-N-Pepa movie, man. And I know a lot of people want to know, does this movie take place from the inception of Salt-N-Pepa and how they got together and Herbie Love Bug, and is all of that mixed in there?
All of that is in there. It's from the start all the way up to today.
All the way.
Are
we examining Salt's love affair with Herbie?
Yes.
Are there two guys in there playing kid and play?
Yes.
I have a question.
And Martin Lawrence. Martin Lawrence, he worked.
Yeah, they all worked at Sears.
They
worked at Sears. But I have a question. Is the conflict between the original Spinderella and the one that ended up in the group in the movie?
Not the same, to the same degree, but it's in there. Look, this movie, I can't talk it too much.
Okay.
It comes out, or they're gonna try to kill me. We don't want that. It comes out the first of the year, I think, is when they.
Good.
But Mario, the most important scene that needs to be in that movie, is there a scene with Salt-N-Pepa, Dr. Dre and that lover, in Russia performing at the White Nights Festival?
Yes, we were at the White Nights Festival in Russia. That was crazy.
Is that scene
in there? The sun never went down. It was just crazy.
It was crazy. It was crazy. Mario, I had a question for you that I'm quite sure not only us, but all Mario Van Peebles fans want to know, because we had heard rumors for a lot of years that there was supposed to be a New Jack City 2. Why didn't that happen?
Dude, every now and then they try to bring it out. I think that's a hard one to do. I know there's someone who was trying it now. There's some classics you don't want to mess with, but what do I know? So periodically they'll take it out. And like I said, looks like we're doing another Western. So that was okay. So You know, so it's sort of in that same posse vibe. So we're looking at some of the classics that we did early on that I was able to be a part of early on and saying, let's do that again.
Have you ever been approached by a legitimate studio and said, hey, we want to do a New Jack City too?
Not really. I mean, I think there's some talk. I talked a little bit to Doug McHenry the other day, a while back. You know, so and we were just talking about this whole election thing. But you know, periodically people bring it up, and when it gets real, I'll let y'all know about it. You know,
because I want to know how you're gonna bring Pookie back.
Yeah,
how you gonna bring Pookie back?
Yeah, man. That was, you know, there's certain movies you look back on, and one of the things I was so proud with that movie was that in most gangster movies, you glorify just the gangster, but in that movie, we also showed you what happens with the victim.
Right.
Yeah.
You put face on the victim because you had to see that, killer, crack is still a killer in our community today. So you couldn't just have fun with it and not say, yo, but look, here's the victim. You can have a New Jack cop, you can have your New Jack gangsters, and here's the victim. And I love to make a movie that makes people think, that raises a little consciousness. Mm-hmm. If I just entertain you, that's easy. But if I can entertain somebody and make them think a little bit, mm-hmm. that's the dopeness. I always say there are 3 loves in life: love what you do, love and enjoy the folks you do it with, and love what your work says. If you get those 3 career chakras to line up, then you're rich no matter the paycheck.
Did you have any inclination when y'all started doing that movie that it was going to be a classic?
I knew I was going to bring my all to it, and I knew that I wanted to ground it in sort of an original sort of gangster classic context. Mm-hmm. You know, the way I wanted to shoot it. And really, if you look at it, what's the trip was, it's 20 years after my dad did Sweetback's Badass Song. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that Sweetback, my dad had met, his secretary was dating a guy who had a new band. And he said he wanted to do the music for my father's movie. And his new band was called Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Oh, wow.
That's right.
And they did the music for my dad's film. And I was like, wow, I want to make sure we have a dope soundtrack, where auditory, mm-hmm. You're nodding your head when the movie, from the first minute, it goes, dun, 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 you're right in there, flying over. And then the studio was like, they said, well, Mario, why don't you just get some stock footage, of New York City? You don't have to have a helicopter fly. Just use we got stock footage. And I was like, no, I want to shoot my own. Because I knew brothers would come up to me and go, is this going to be a real movie? Like, or are they going to play us out? It's just going to be on the cover of Jet magazine. So at the very beginning, when we shoot the helicopter and you see it come into Nino Brown in one shot, and he puts the dude over the side of the railing, catch was like, oh shit, this here is a real movie.
Right.
Because I wanted as a filmmaker, I knew I was going to bring my A game, but I also knew I'd been trained by my father to do that for years. Right. So I watching my daddy do this and saying, how can I put all the money on the screen, and be smart about it? So I'm gonna do this helicopter shot first, and then instead of a car chase, I'm gonna rewrite that to be Pookie on a bike through the hood with Ice-T chasing him through the hood, and do some original stuff.
Well, you did do 2 original things in that movie. Number one, you had Flavor Flav in it, and that probably was one of the biggest scenes ever. And the second thing that you did was huge, is you actually legitimized Ice-T as a police officer, which he continues to play on SVU to this day.
Yeah. And backstory on this, Ice originally wanted to be, of course, the gangster.
Right.
Wes wanted to be the cop. And,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So part of the thing was to say, no, Wes, play the gangster, but play him like he's one of the Black Panthers. Like he owns this. Like he's the king of the jungle. Like he's the I took a metaphor like the drug dealer was almost like a vampire, and all the addicts were like lost souls. So if you look at the Carter and look how we shot it, it looks like a horror movie. And then I went to Ice-T and said, we're going to take that perm out. We're going to give you these dreads, and you're going to be the lion, the king of the jungle. So I had the Panther on one side with Wes and the lion on the other side. Took this visual metaphor, and they're both in black, but you see it. And so it was, I said, Ice-T, now you play the cop, but play him with all of the street credibility that you bring.
Right.
That wasn't a wig he was wearing?
Huh? That was a wig.
I always thought that was a wig he was wearing.
Oh, no. We put that in, man. We put that in.
Oh, that's even
wow. Long hair. Ice always had long hair to begin with.
Yes.
But that was great. That was great, man. Because right down to this day, I always thought he wore a wig.
I did too.
Yeah.
We put that. So I knew, here's the thing. I said, it wasn't the challenge wasn't to just make a hit. The challenge was to make something that we would be proud of, that would make people think, that would have resonance, and hopefully one day be a classic. You know, because we don't get 3 strikes at the plate, so that ball is going to come real fast.
No question.
Man, you got to hit that sucker out the park without a doubt.
Wow. So you think about it. Think about you really launched Ice-T as a legitimate actor. You guys really launched Chris Rock in a way we hadn't seen Chris Rock, because I think I'm Gonna Get You Sucker became before, right, New Jack City. And Chris Rock had that one scene in there, How Much for a Rib and all of that other stuff. But you really legitimized.
That was after.
That was after. Okay, but you still legit. But that was a funnier role for Chris. You legitimized Chris as an actor, and he's still doing it to this day. You can see him on TV on Fargo. You really made Alan Payne a household name, for real. It was one of the best roles Wesley ever played. You gave us Vanessa L. Williams. Bill Nunn was in that movie. Like,
yes.
That's an all-star cast of people. I'm probably not naming everyone that went off to do some amazing work in this business,
including Mario Van Peebles.
Yes, sir.
I have an advantage, and the advantage is you guys can't ignore it. I can't ignore is that I'm also an actor.
Right.
So I can speak actor. I can say to Chris Rock, who's a new actor, I can show him. I can direct him as a director, but I can also show him and communicate with him as an actor, and that makes a difference in the performance. Plus, I love our people, so I'm going to give all the depth to it and all the stuff. I'm going to give Wesley everything that I would want to get if I was playing that role. I'm going to give Chris Rock everything I would want to get if I was playing that role. You know, same thing. So I didn't make them. I just gave them the stage to dance on. And sometimes it meant having the wherewithal to get the hell out the way and let the great actors do their work. You know what I'm saying? So like the scene on the roof with G Money and Wesley, they rehearsed it and played with it. I said, oh, hell, they got this.
Right.
Nope, I'm gonna shoot this bad boy, boom. But the material was good. We could lean into it and deliver it. And, you know, and I love seeing us, you know, doing our thing like that and having multi-layers, not just being one-dimensional, you know. So that was easy for me.
To talk a little about what you were talking about before, how the importance of the music mattered to you. The soundtrack of that movie is incredible. I mean, honestly, I mean, you're talking Levert, you're talking Latifah.
You introduced us to Color Me Bad, which set you up.
We're talking about Guy. We're talking about, I mean, all the people of the time were a part of that movie, and that actually, I mean, that makes it enjoyable now, today, when you listen. Because now you're listening to the old music, and you really get into, I mean, you already know the actors are great. The storyline was great. It was well put together. But the music puts it all together like a nice sandwich, man. Like like one of those big hero sandwiches ready to get down. This is it.
A man who loves his food right there.
This is real. This is real. Like when you watch it now, I listen to the Guy part when Flav comes out, you listen and watch Guy perform, and you get into the scene, and it romanticizes this whole thing we're watching, you know?
Yeah, and part of that was I would listen to the music, and that would help drive the energy of my camera, so that it wasn't like camera and then music. They were one and the same. Let me give you an example. So for example, when you say Troop and Levert, Sons of the OJs, when they're out front singing in front of the Carter, and they go, in a new jack, and then the camera goes up, boom, the camera pulls up, and then we go to all the mayhem happening, and boom, and we change seasons, and bam, we come down, and now it's snowing, and the snow is coming down, and then the end of the song, City. So I knew as a director how long I had to do that move. You know what I mean? So I don't go in there blind. I go in there, okay. And I look like a crazy man on the set because I'll be listening to something. Go, boom, yeah, put that on. Okay, get my camera over here, boom, 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 boom. But I can see it in my head. I have the ability to see it. And so that's why a lot of it works, with what's happening. The other thing is I have to say, in terms of some of the performances, I'll give you a case in point. Directors lost a lot of power when they started recording films with sound. Because before you could talk to your actor like you could talk to your model. So you could talk to Mary Pickford or Buster Keaton because they wouldn't record sound. Once they started recording sounds, directors were reduced in a way to giving notes before a scene or after. And all the director could say was action and cut. So I said, okay, I got this young actor named Chris Rock. I know he can do the comedy. I gotta make sure that the comedy's just the flip side of tragedy. So in all of his tragic scenes, I took out the sound and I talked him through the scene. So I'd be like,
wow.
feeling right now, you feel it in your vein. And Chris was a little frightened of me, right? And so I would yell at him, do this, motherfucker, do this. And he would shake and shit. And then later, I put the sound of his voice in, and he was acting his ass off.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
How cool was that?
That's some cool stuff that we. If you had to look back over your career, I don't want to say you were embarrassed by it, because I'm quite sure if I can ask Dre and T Money what stuff that they did or Dre and I did together that we're embarrassed about looking at right now, the Bahama Hustle. What would you say? I wish I would have did that a little differently. What project?
Here's the thing. What those early ones did was, one, I always had my hustle. I knew what I wanted to do. I was like, I was forward lean, man. I was, on it. And, but I look back at certain pieces that I did, and the bad ones made me want to direct a lot faster. I was like, dude, if they can release rapping, I know I can.
You said it. You said it.
I didn't say it. Dre, listen, I didn't say it.
No,
You said it.
If they, I went to the dude, let me tell you a crazy story, man. I mean, all kinds of stuff I learned. I was like, and I'll give you but it was such good learning. Like, I made a big mistake in rapping. I was trying to act, but that movie was about entertaining. No one wanted you to act. They want to know is the fat boy in it. They wanted to rap. They wanted to have fun. That is not Platoon.
Right.
Right.
So I made a mistake of of acting, when I should have been just straight up enjoying it. Then I got a movie called Heartbreak Ridge, but now I had learned the lesson of rapping, see? So there was a young brother, a Hispanic brother in the platoon.
Right.
And we were supposed to go, to Vieques, right, which is Spanish speaking. And he was playing all this anger. I said, brother, playing all this anger. So I went over to him, I said, man, you seem to be carrying a lot of anger with you. He said, yes, because we're going to go to Vieques and we'll be shooting and killing my brothers and sisters. And so I'm conflicted. I said, brother, I've learned this lesson. You try to do too much. Don't try to tell a joke in the context of this movie that you won't have the time to complete.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Not the movie for that. This is not Oliver Stone. This is a Clint Eastwood flick. It's not rapping, but you got to understand the dynamic, right? So you got to hit it just right, so you understand the tone of what you're in. If you don't understand the tone of what you're in, man, and the director is not on it, you can be way, way out the box. And that was part of the thing in New Jack City, was Wesley's such a trained brother. Ice-T was new. Chris Rock was from comedy, to make sure they all blended and were in the same movie. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. Even tonally, like on the show I'm doing now, the power thing is making sure that some of these newer actors and the professional actors are all in the same movie. That's important. And back to that, it's like voting. We got to all be on the same block. This is not the time for tribal infighting.
Absolutely.
In fact, to that end, man, if you want to, I'm on Instagram, Mario Van Peebles. I'm verified. Hit me up. I just made a comment about voting that some of your viewers may find interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's important. Let me ask you guys a question, though. When you hear young brothers and sisters say, oh, man, I don't know, my vote doesn't count, what do you say to that?
I say your vote absolutely counts. I said your vote is there to give you a voice. Now, you may not think on a national stage of what we have with the presidents and how that is voted in. They can win the general election and the popular vote, but they don't win the electoral college. I don't really know how to explain that to them, but what I push about voting is voting on your local level, because that's where all your laws are made. So you can't sit back and not vote on a local level, because those are the people that are going to present the laws to be signed off on by the president, and those are the people that can still pass a law, even if the president vetoes the first thing they put on. Yes. And so you have to make sure that those people are the most important people that you're voting for. If you want laws changed against police, then you have to vote. You got to know who the local sheriff is. You got to vote for the sheriff.
That's very
know
true.
who your attorney general is. You gotta know all of this stuff. Who your alderman is, or your alderwoman, or your senator, or your congressman. Everything on the local level is what we pay the least amount of attention to, and those are the most important things. So I tell them that's why it's important, because your vote counts more on the local level than it does on the presidential.
Without all question, that's why this is exactly why when they vote in the president, and the president doesn't seem to be doing what they need to do, or what they feel like is important, they just totally forgot about what's local. They didn't vote in the local elections. They didn't elect their congressmen. They didn't elect any sheriffs or any elected officials. They ignored that. So you have, to piggyback off of what Ed is saying, of course, you have to vote on the local level. You have to vote year round. This is what's most important. And your vote does count, but make sure you do it on the local level as well as the presidency.
And I just want to answer your question real quick, Mario. What you said was very important for the younger generation that making that decision about voting or not voting. Yes, all elections are local. All elections are important. But here's the thing: you have a right that many people, millions of people, died for you to get the opportunity to perform that service. And that's what it comes down to. You think everything around you was always granted. You think we always had a cell phone. You think we always had 10 pairs of sneakers in our closet. You think we always had 5 cars in the driveway. No, it didn't happen. Many people, many great people of all colors fought for us to have this opportunity, this right, which was guaranteed in the Constitution. Although our president in charge at this moment does not read the Constitution, we all should. We should make that a stronger point. And that's what makes it so significant about what you had discussion with 50 about his deciding where to vote. For me, if he wants to go that way, okay, but understand all the other people who gave you that opportunity to at least make that comment, make that statement, walk in that booth and pull that lever. But like T and Ed said, you got to vote all the way down. The alderman is just as important as everybody else.
I try to explain this to my kids as often as I can, that when voting happened, voting was for white men only. Even white women didn't even get an opportunity to vote until 1918, and they were still trying to deny them that right to vote. Black men there was a lot of different things that states did to try to keep us away from the poll.
Still doing, brother. Still doing it.
It's trickery now. Fear was their biggest one at the time. You niggers come down here, try to vote, we're going to lynch you. Black women weren't given the opportunity to vote till 1965. So with all of these, things taken away from us, we weren't ever going to get the right to vote in the Constitution because we weren't even considered a full man.
Correct.
You're a piece of property, pretty much. So they have to understand where they came from, why it's important to vote, and why their vote, especially on the local levels, affect your everyday life and your everyday well-being.
And I would say to that, if your vote didn't matter, they wouldn't be trying so hard to stop your vote.
That's right.
Exactly.
So much money to figure out how to gerrymander, put fake boxes up, not count your vote, sue this, sue that. That costs a lot of money and energy.
Right.
If vote didn't matter, they wouldn't be trying to get Kanye out there to confuse the issue. They're calling up people, say, no, Democrats vote on a different day. If your vote didn't matter, they wouldn't do that. And I want to say this. The other thing is political maturity. I remember once when my kids were young. In fact, it was around the time we did Gunman. And one of my sons said something to me. He's young. He said, Dad, can you make it rain? And I said, what do you mean? He said, yeah, well, you control when we go to bed. You control what we eat. Can you control weather? I was like, no, I can't control weather. But when you're young, you don't understand what your parents can control because you're not mature yet. When you understand when you have political maturity, you understand we had close to 300 years of slavery, close to another 100 years of segregation and Jim Crow, and just recently, in our recent history, have gotten out of that. You can't correct 400 years of wrong with 8 years of right.
Right. That's right.
Very true.
You know what I mean? That's going to take a minute. But if you give up, democracy's like a car, man. If you take your foot off the gas, we all know that car is going to slow down. So you have to end the fight. They're going to try to discourage you. They're going to try to make you think your vote don't matter. They're going to try to make you think politics is disgusting. I tell you what, get your ass out there and run for office. Get out there and do something.
That's
why they call it a campaign.
Also a way to affect change. We got to get people that think like us in that office, and especially for all human beings on this planet, we have to, and especially the United States, we have to look at the way they vote on every issue. And that's free information that you can get. If you want to look at what your senator voted on and what he voted against, not just at election time when they start talking about he did this and he did that, you can go and get that information about each and every person that's out there that's trying to be elected to really, really see what they're about. And if they were already in office, you can see what they did their last 4 years. You can see it. It's right there in front of you.
It comes down to accountability. The thing is, the whole point of elections is about accountability. You're here to have these people who are being paid by you through your taxes and their duty. You're saying, okay, let's do a job check. Are you doing the things that are helping our community? Are you building on what we need for our children? Is healthcare important to you? Are women's rights that important, whether they have a right to do what they want with their body? Not you, because you have just one opinion. And that's where it gets kind of nutty, because people try to feel that, oh, well, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. No, you're they. You're there.
Right, right. And
it's up to us. We have to participate, communicate in order to facilitate and actually move this thing forward for all of us, because we may not be the majority in number, but united, we cannot fail.
Well, it has a lot to do with them being active on a smaller level. Before we even talk about voting, you have to be active in relation to your community, things that you do around your community. You have to be active, just like Ed just got finished saying, we have to join with people in like minds, but we need to actually start thinking in terms of changing the minds of people who aren't like us, whose vote matters. You understand? There's so many people out there that don't even care.
They just don't vote. They don't
vote. They don't understand the process. You know, that's the problem. You know,
make it a party. Tell them everybody after you vote, there's going to be a voters party. And when you go to vote with your kids,
at your house, Ray? That's where we go.
Yeah, we're going to vote at my house, and we're going to vote by party. And free liquor, yes. But when you go to vote, you have younger children. Bring them into that booth with you. Show them what it means to pull the lever. Or right now it's digital, and you sign in and you go through the process and you put it in the slot. Whatever it takes, let them see that ballot. Let them see it's for real. Let them understand what you're attempting to do. And then it becomes generational voting. Because my parents did it to me. I've done it with my children. And when my grands hit the place, they will walk in that booth with me in my arm. And I'll say, okay, Granddad can't read it, but pull this one, pull that one. No, not too
much. It's all touchscreen.
I'm making a joke.
Get Dre off the phone to vote. Dre going there looking for levers. You be in there all day, Dre.
First of all, me going there looking for anything.
Be there all day. You got to feel around. Now, Mario, man, it was great today, man, to have you here, man. I appreciate you being here.
Do you have any final words to pass along? If you could say something to 50 or to anyone else who had that mindset, what would you like to convey?
I would say, we can get tricked into this moral equivalency thing. Sometimes they'll trick you. They say, okay, we know they don't like Trump, and we know they see Trump as imperfect. So we're going to show you, well, Biden's imperfect too. But here's the thing. You got to look at it and go, wait a minute. One man has grown and one man is not. One stayed the same and is still telling these racist Proud Boys to stand by and stay there if he needs them to win. He knows that Russia has put bounties on our troops' head. He never said anything to his boy Putin. I don't know why he still hasn't shown his taxes. Biden has shown his taxes. Trump has. Biden's not, kissing up to Putin. Trump has. So you got to look at these things and then say, and then who are they working with? Like I said before, Biden, picked by Obama, is now hiring assistant to work Kamala to be with him. So, and he's going to put a lot of diversity in government. It doesn't mean that they're all perfect, because none of us are perfect. You won't have a perfect candidate. So they can tell you, well, your guy's not perfect either, but he's a hell of a lot better than that dude.
Absolutely.
So I would say, don't get tricked in this moral equivalency duel. Just know that your vote matters. It makes a difference. Get out now. And if not, man, you can't complain later, because the planet's at stake.
That's right.
You gotta vote like your life depends on it, because it does.
Like your life depends on it, baby.
Facts.
Man. Yes, Mario, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day and
thank you, Mario.
Brother. Continued support on everything you do. And we love you, man. We respect you so much. And thanks for helping us inspire a whole generation of people who may see this and may not have voted before, may hear this and never thought of voting and say, you know what, I'm gonna get up off my butt and vote. We appreciate you, brother. God bless you always.
Thank you for
Thank
being
you, Mario.
certified.
Respect to you, brother. Always.
Can I say one quick thing to Mario?
I'm also glad I have to say this. It's a good thing to be at a place. I'm a brother in the film business, but where I can go to other folks to put it out honestly, where you guys can give us a voice. You know, where we can have a conversation about us, with us, for us, and do that. That's kind of an honor, man. That wasn't all
like Peebles, right?
Honors all ours. Really it is. But I got one quick suggestion for you there, Mario. You could do a follow-up movie about these two guys who were barbers who found some oil in Harlem. And their third guy fixes cars. I think there's something there.
Might be a little something there.
Might be something there.
But we're gonna need some music. You got any music?
Hey, we got a lot of music because we came from the certified generation.
And we can maybe get Stitch Jones to perform.
There you go.
Jones
We'll get Stitch Jones to perform.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Once again, Mario, we appreciate you, my brother. Take care. God bless you. Give our best to your dad, your children, and everybody. And we'll be definitely looking for Raising Canaan. We know another Book of Power is coming. I'm still stuck on the one that's out now. Definitely waiting for December, but brother, always, man. God bless you. You're one of our shining kings, man, and we respect you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Onward and upward.
Love you, man. Namaste.
Peace out, man. One love to you.
Thank you, brother.